Chase had two really good sessions in the small pen, so I wanted to bring him back out into the larger area and try to get some good work out of him. He does have a little bit harder time on smaller groups of cattle than he does on larger groups, and I had a smaller group in here this time. So first of all, I'm just asking him to walk with me. I'm going to just walk him towards the cattle to push them back into a group instead of trying to send him around to put them in a group. So just reminding him to walk with me, that I haven't asked him to do anything yet. Once I get all the cattle together, I just put him in a down and I step out in front of him so I can influence his path, and I send him away. So right there he's a little unsure and he starts turning into the cattle, so I step into his shoulder. That's the green arrow that pushes him towards the fence, and then I can step back and relieve that pressure off of him. He takes a little bit of a bathroom break and the cattle leave to go to the front, so I just go ahead and walk Chase with me again. He's not ready to be sent a long way yet, as you can see here, so I send him come by. He's a little unsure. That's the snipping and the disconnecting. He says, can I stand in the shade? And I say, no, we got to go to work, come by. So I'm using my stick there. It's just kind of a block, and that's pressure on his shoulder, and that's keeping him from crossing. So I'll show you here with this line. I'm just holding that stick up saying, don't go behind me, buddy. I want you to continue to go forward, because what he wanted to do is kind of go the other direction, which is the easier direction for him. I don't get onto him for the barking. He does get the cattle off the fence. And right here, he needs to walk at the eye of this cattle, that green line. Do you see how he turns into the heels there? That's what pushes the cattle further away from me instead of towards me. So again, he goes in on the heels, and right here he just takes that easy way, the way that he likes to go. So I step in and redirect him. So the reason he's losing the cattle over there to the right hand side of the screen is because he's just not going far enough up on the heads to get them to turn towards me. So they're going forward because he's far enough behind to push on them, but they're not turning towards me because he's not going far enough. There he goes. And you see how they've turned to me? But then he falls in on those heels again. You see the heads leaving. They're not looking at me anymore. So he's got to go away. And what happens here is, I think, just a little bit of lack of confidence on the fence right there. So he's going to go towards them, and then they don't move right away. So he darts in front, cuts between me and the cattle, and goes the other direction. So that actually pushes them back towards the draw where the rest of their buddies are, where they want to be at this end of the arena. And I'm starting to realize Chase is just having a little bit of a struggle today. So walk him with me again. I'm not going to send him all this way because I already know he's probably not going to cover them completely on the heads. He's not going to go that far without some support. So I just try to walk him with me. Get him a little bit closer and then try to send him. So you see he's moving nicely off my pressure here. He cuts in a little bit early, so I'm going to step into his shoulder, push him out again. So he loses contact with the stock right there, and I think that's just showing me that he is not confident along the fence. Not yet. He is working on it. He's getting better, but he's not quite confident there. As soon as he goes, looks like he's going to cover the cattle, I can start walking away, take the pressure off of him. He goes too far towards that side, and that's what pushes the cattle to the other side. So there's a sweet spot. He's got to be in a sweet spot to cover the cattle, keep them moving forward, and keep their direction going the right way. And he was just struggling. He was starting to lose interest. It was hot, so I went ahead and I got another dog out just to kind of get his interest back up and see if I could boost his confidence a little bit. So the lighter colored dog is the extra dog, and the darker colored dog is Chase. So I'm just going to use her to bring the cattle up towards us at the top, away from that fence line where he's got a lot of draw, where he has a hard time getting between the cattle and the fence. And so then I'm just going to let him work around, and I'm going to let her basically maintain the cattle and keep them from leaving. He was really wanting to go sit in the shade and not participate, so I just wanted to get his interest level back up, get him back to work, boost his confidence a little bit, and then call it a day. So you can see he's kind of moseying along with us and letting her do a lot of the work, which is fine. I just want him to see that he can do it, and this other dog is just going to be a positive presence for him. Sometimes this really perks a dog up, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Once I get him up close enough to the cattle where he's engaged, I just kind of send her around, try to kind of get some movement going and get him perked up. And right there, he kind of gets in on the cattle a little bit. She won't let the cattle escape, so it works out well in both of our favor. And then I can kind of just work him around for a second again and then start to call these two dogs off. There he goes a little bit some more, just trying to get his interest level up, let him know it's okay, he can work these cattle, he can go between the fence and the cattle, and they're not going to escape. Sometimes the fact that the cattle are leaving is what's really demotivating to the dog, and the dog just doesn't see that he can stop the cattle from leaving. It's his responsibility. So just getting them both going and then gonna call them off. And we'll go back to a smaller pen and we'll just kind of work on his confidence and work on him understanding what I'm asking of him, and we'll try again out in the big area again later.